Hey folks, John here. It is the end of the month, July 2020, end of summer, and something I've been thinking about putting on Facebook for a long time, and I'm going to start doing it now. And I'm putting this out there kind of as a preface, because it does involve other people than myself. I'm going to do a series of posts illustrating my experiences in an organization called Praise Chapel. Today it's known as Praise Chapel International, I believe. They even have a Wikipedia page about that. And it consists of a large number of non-denominational churches all over the world that do the work of Jesus Christ. And they do a lot of good in the world. Just like a lot of churches and a lot of organizations help their communities. Now, I was involved in this church between the mid-'80s to the mid-'90s. About the time I went off to college is when I will use the term I outgrew it and moved on to other churches and found out how other churches operate. In fact, that would have been Vineyard Christian Fellowship, which maybe I'll talk about later on. Both churches did a lot of good. Both churches had their own way of doing things. And it's the way of doing things I want to talk about and how I believe it shaped me to the adult I am now. I'm going to speak of my observations, both how I interpreted those observations as a teenager, as a very naive teenager just trying to find his place in the world, and as an adult, a university-educated adult, looking back on the same experiences. I'll share both. Well, at least what I can remember feeling when I was a young person, and I'll share my observations looking back, being the adult I am now. A lot of these small anecdotes, a lot of the stories I have to tell, and a lot of the people that I will mention, I still look back very fondly upon. And there are other experiences that are less than pleasant to mention. Just like any experience, any life lived, you got the good and the bad. I'm going to talk about some of that, and that's why I'm giving a preface here. Some of the people that I'm friends with now on Facebook, I was in fact involved with in Praise Chapel to some extent. Some I knew on a very familiar basis. We were, church members, knew each other by name, blah, blah, blah. Others, I may not have met you until long after this Praise Chapel years I spoke about. But whatever the case is, I want to put this out there. If there's anybody who has any concerns about what I'm going to talk about, or anybody who has something they'd like to contribute, shoot me a private message. Or if you just want to discuss it, like I said, what I say is going to be from my observation as well as my involvement. Some of it's awesome. Some of it's very unpleasant. But I don't want to be frank and expose stuff that shouldn't needlessly be spoken about without a context. I'm not here to do an expose. I'm not here to bash any organization or any group or any person. But just like two sides of a coin, duality. You want to learn about duality? Read the book of Job. Job basically got me my degree. And I'm going to do both faces. Pleasant and unpleasant. I'm not going to single anybody out, of course. I'm not going to embarrass anybody but I do have things to say. So if somebody has any concerns or somebody has any questions or wants to reach out to me about this, or even to a small extent be part of it, send me a message, private message. I'm going to be doing probably 4 or 5 different video things about this. And it's probably for myself. Whether it's cathartic, whether it's therapeutic, whether it's just narcissistic, I'm doing it. I hope. And like with everything else I do basically to entertain people. So hopefully this is entertaining. You'll learn a little bit about me, which I love sharing. And hope to see you. Have a good one.